Evergreen Show, taking your business from seed to sapling to towering giant. With your hosts, best-selling author and business growth experts Noah Fleming and Sean Veltman. This is the only show that gives you proven, pragmatic, and immediately applicable business growth strategies every week in 15 minutes or less. Here's Noah and Sean.
Well, hello, everybody. We're back. This is Noah Fleming at the Evergreen Show with my co-host, Sean Veltman. Sean, come on, tell me. You're somewhere warm. It's nice. You're comfortable.
I've got the fire going. It is gorgeous. I am warm. I'm comfy. It's not quite Playa del Carmen, but it's as close as I'm going to get for the next couple months.
Well, that sounds nice. Listen, I was in cold Montreal not too long ago. I did a breakfast meeting with about 35 business executives, business leaders from the Montreal area. Really fascinating businesses, really fascinating executives and leaders. And then I spent the day meeting with current clients, past clients, and potential clients. And so it was a jam-packed day, but there was something really interesting that I heard from, I would say, 95% of the people I talked to. So let me preface this with this. Every one of these people I talked to was in an entirely different industry, an entirely different type of business. So as many of our listeners know, we work with companies in all kinds of industries, B2B, B2C, e-commerce, online, offline, everywhere, services, everywhere in between. And one of the things that kept coming up with everybody I talked to is they would say something like this, our industry is going through big, massive changes this year. And we really need to be ready for those big, massive changes. There's so much happening right now in our industry. Things are happening and things are changing. And Sean, I kept hearing this come up again and again and again and again from everybody. What's your take on this when you hear this?
That reminds me a lot of when I hear or when I've said, things are just really busy right now, really crazy right now. But once they settle down, I'm finally going to get all these things off my to-do list done. And, I remember saying that back in the late 90s, and I don't think things have settled down since. And I'm sure that it's the same in companies. Right? Things have been in a constant state of change for many, many years now, to the point where I think we've all just got to agree that this accelerated rate of change is normal, and there's no getting back to an idealized state of normal where we can get things done. We need to figure out, how do we get it done in this crazy environment?
Well, one of the things that kept coming into my head as I was hearing this over and over again is that it was almost like, we haven't seen anything yet, right? This is just the start. If you think things have gotten crazy over the past year, if you think things are getting crazy over the next few months, we're just seeing the start of this. I mean, retail, for example, is, again, an industry everybody knows is going through serious change. What is the hashtag? I think it's retail apocalypse or something, right? And so retail is one industry where we're seeing this, but sales in B2B companies, I'm hearing this, right? Sales is changing. Well, listen, sales in B2B has been changing drastically over the past 5-10 years, over the past 2 years. And what we're going to see happen in the next couple of years is going to be huge. What we're going to see in retail is going to be huge. And so I guess, the thing that keeps coming into my head, and maybe I'm doing these kind folks a little bit of a disservice, is that, again, one, you haven't really seen anything yet. And two, this is nothing new, right? Your business isn't that different. This is the new normal. Like you said, this is what we need to get used to.
Absolutely. It's interesting when we hear people talking about change. As you've said, this is happening everywhere. It's happening in many different industries, companies. One of the things that I'm really fascinated by is that a lot of times when industries go into apocalypse, like retail, as you said, what ends up happening is that's the opportunity for the companies who invest, who recognize what changes are coming in order to make the changes that are required and come out on top, right? That's where you get a few companies who survive and they end up with all of the clients at the end of it. And I think there's great opportunity in these times for the companies that are willing to do it. The ones who hunker down, the ones who say, look, we're just going to stop doing things and we're just going to try our best to get by until things get back to normal. are in worlds of trouble.
Yeah, this welcome to the new normal, right? Get used to this type of change, this type of accelerated change. And again, it's going to be the companies that continue to press on, move forward, make changes that are going to win. So there's a few big companies that come to mind when I think about this. And, one you and I have had discussions about in terms of their either lack of change or perhaps their more innovative change in recent times is Walmart. I've heard some business leaders, some business executives, and some authors and experts say, Walmart is done, right? The time for Walmart is over. They missed it. They messed up. But then I've heard you say some interesting things like, don't discount Walmart yet because they're doing some really interesting and innovative things. And you've showed me some of those things they're doing. There's just some really interesting, fascinating stuff going on right now. What's your take on Walmart?
They're doing some really cool stuff. They've got in some stores this giant delivery tube where you can place your order online, then come pick it up so that there's no shipping charge. And you just walk into the store and grab your item and walk out. It's a really nice fusion of the online and offline experiences to give their customers the best of all worlds. Obviously, Walmart was one of the pioneer technologies in shipping and logistics for the last number of decades, and that was their huge competitive advantage. And they're doubling down on that. They're doing so much behind the scenes that is just really great for their clients. Even something as simple as doing your automated or your orders online and then having somebody come and pull them out to your car for your groceries. There's some cool stuff, and I think they're really finding a way to bridge that gap between the physical and the digital. And you could do a lot worse than looking to Walmart if you're in the retail space right now.
I almost wonder though if it's just too little too late. And so we talk about this accelerated change that everybody's dealing with. And, you mentioned there that those who don't change, those who refuse to sit and wait for this change to slow down or something else to happen are the ones that are going to be in trouble. And Walmart in particular, they strike me as a company that perhaps waited too long. It'll be interesting to see, but
they may, you may be right. But I think what's interesting is that they are doing something. They're not sitting on their hundreds of billions of dollars and waiting for this storm to pass. They're actively experimenting. And I think there's a lot of companies with a lot less money that are hoping to ride this storm, which is a losing strategy regardless.
Well, so let's talk about those. Let's talk about those companies that are either riding the storm or they have less piles of cash than the good folks at Walmart. Because I do know past clients, prospective clients who are in this, who do have this mentality of sitting around waiting for things to happen. One of the things I look at is first the economy in the United States in particular has never been stronger, never been more aggressive, never been more booming than it is right now. The other thing that we're dealing with is we are in an Amazon world and an Amazon economy. And so, we talk about Walmart, but look at everything Amazon's doing, the innovations coming out of there, right? The disruptions to all kinds of industries, from clothing to custom clothing to grocery shopping to everything and anything in between. And so I think there's just these incredibly aggressive things happening. And one of the things that we hear from clients all the time, I know, is, well, Sean, how do I even compete with that? How do I compete with Amazon? Do you have any answers or responses to that?
So I think there's a few things that we really need to pay attention to Amazon for, no matter what our business. One is that it's changing what people expect. It's changing our frame of reference for what services, for timelines, delivery, price, everything. And if we're not careful to shape the narrative, to shape what our clients expect from us, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Because, to go way back, if they're used to a Sears Roebuck catalog world, and that's how we built our company around that expectation, and we look pretty good compared to the old Sears Roebuck, we are going to get our lunches eaten when they start expecting Amazon service.
So sorry to interrupt you. There's a really, and maybe you're going there, that I'm going to give this back to you in a second. The really interesting thing there is the skeletons in the closet protocol, which we are making the skeletons dance, which we've talked about a lot. Is that where you were going with this?
somewhere along there, I think that's a great way to go. So, Noah, remind our listeners what the skeletons in the closet are, and then I'll continue.
Sure. So the most fascinating thing you said there is, Amazon setting the new expectation. And so I look at some of my retail e-commerce clients, and you're exactly right. If clients haven't received or customers haven't received their products in 2 days, right? They're immediately freaking out. Why is this taking so long? Right? Why do I not have my new product in the Yukon in the middle of nowhere in 2 days? Because Amazon gets me everything within 2 days. And we have other clients in the B2B space where clients say things like, you need a week to get me a quote? I can have this delivered by X company by Thursday. Why would I give you a week? And so the skeleton protocol is about looking at your business, looking at your industry, and looking at all the skeletons in your closet, all the things that the client might perhaps be thinking or be wanting to say, like, you know what, we can just get this faster from Amazon. And the trick or the secret or the key is to make the skeletons dance early. So you might say something like this, Sean, you're probably thinking you could get this from Amazon in 2 days. And look, we can't get this to you in 2 days. There's no way we can do it. But here's where we're different. And here's why you're going to want to wait maybe an extra 2 or 3 days to get it from us. And it's about giving yourself and your company and your salespeople the tools to make the skeletons dance early. So now I'm going to shut up and let you get back to where you were going. I had to get that in there.
No, I think that's great. And it's such a good exercise. It ties into an exercise that you and I often do with our clients, which is to challenge them point blank. Why the hell does anybody buy from you? Right. And, get past all the fluff answers too. Why do they buy from you specifically? What I was driving at in the Amazon comparison in the expectations is that, going back to Walmart, Sam Walton gave everybody the playbook to compete against Walmart when he wrote Made in America shortly before he died. Right? Wonderful book. But he said, you're never going to compete with us on price. You're never going to compete with us on selection. And if you try, you're going to go under. So you have to compete with us differently because we're never going to be able to know everybody in the community and talk to them on a one-to-one level. We're never going to be able to create a community in what we do. And so you have to compete differently. In the B2B space, as you've said, we have heard people say, well, we can't get them stuff as quickly as they want it. And really the answer there has to be, well, do you want something quickly or do you want the right thing? There's nothing more expensive than getting the wrong part or the wrong item or committing yourself to the wrong path just because you were able to get it a little more quickly.
Right. So, the Walmart line or the Sam Walton line is one that I often share regularly when I'm speaking to different groups. The scary thing about that comment, which he made in when did he make that? It was sometime
that was 91 or 92.
Right. So the scary thing, which to me, if I was a retailer, should shake me to my core, is that Sam was right. For the past, since 1991, that was how you defeated or competed with Walmart. But these companies now are making major strides in these areas to try and do these things. So Amazon is looking for ways to add always more personalization, more customization, more of a personal touch to what they do. Walmart the same, Target the same, right? These companies are doing that. And so we need to now be thinking a step ahead, a step further of what we need to be doing better, more engaging, more dynamic than ever before. And again, we cannot rest on our laurels. We cannot wait here for things to come back to normal because they ain't coming back. So Sean, where are we at with our time here? Let me take a look here. We're at 13 minutes and 45 seconds talking about my business is different. Our industry is going through change, and we've discussed here that this is the new reality. This aggressive rate, this rapid rate of change is the new world we live in. So can you think of a challenge for our listeners today when they have these feelings within themselves, when they have these feelings about their companies, when they're sitting around the table with their executives? What's the type of challenge we could look at here?
So the challenge that I would make to everybody listening is ask yourself, what's the last initiative that we tabled because we wanted to wait until things slowed down or until we had the time or until things got back to normal? And re-examine that in light of an understanding that there is no normal, that this is normal. This is the best it's ever going to be because it's only going to be worse tomorrow. And see whether or not that initiative is worth doing. If not, just forget about it. Scrap it. Tell everybody who brought it up that it's garbage and you're never going to do it because now is the best time to do it. Otherwise, though, figure out how you're going to get it done. Figure out how you're going to work it in. And of course, ask your team to do the same. Find the last initiatives that you said, we'll re-examine this in 6 months when things have calmed down. And just shake your head and, of course, remember that things are never going to be calmed down. And in 6 months, you're going to be longing for the peaceful days of today.
I love that challenge. So with that, everybody, we're going to close things out here. We're just over 15 minutes again, but fabulous discussion. Really like that. This is one I'm going to go back and listen to for sure. We're going to get deeper into the skeleton protocol, which I know we've talked about on other episodes before, and we will continue to talk about again because it's so important. But as always, you know the routine. If you want to reach out to Sean and I, go to my website, noahfleming.com, hit the contact button, leave a review on iTunes. They tell us these are important. And of course, share this with your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, and everybody else in your company that would benefit from this. More importantly, take part in the challenges because they will help, they will change your business, and they will allow you to make some significant progress. Sean, any last words?
I think that's great. I look forward to our chat next week.
All right, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to join us each and every week for another great episode of The Evergreen Show with your hosts, Noah Fleming and Sean Veltman. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on The Evergreen Show.